DSLRs are dead. Why that's exciting is it means well, that was certainly one of the more interesting angles I've used to start a video with. Also, what do you think of the pink shirt? You know, I think it's very summery for me. I don't wear it that often, but like when I'm just feeling good and it's hot out, and yeah, I think it kind of goes with the sunglasses. I don't know, let me know. There we go. Alright, so if you haven't figured it out yet, this is just going to be a pretty casual video, just another Q&A. We're just out here, it's a nice sunny day, sitting in the park, chilling, and I'm going to be answering some of your guys' questions. Honestly, I just got off work, I'm feeling so good, I'm just ready to like plow through these, dive into them, and try to help you out to the best I can, or just answer some of your humorous or more personal ones about me. Do you speak Spanish? Sí, pero no bueno me hablo español. How do you pass your time during this pandemic? That's a good one. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of the phrase passing time. I never really feel like I'm just trying to kill time or make it pass. Right now, I'm so laser focused on just progressing in my career, learning new things all the time, taking online classes, watching tutorials, and just making a ton of stuff, as well as working at my job, that honestly, I never feel like I'm just passing time. I still feel like there's not enough time to get through all the things that I'm trying to get through. That aside, I do a decent amount of hiking, I do a decent amount of biking just to stay active, get outside. I really enjoy that. Would you ever go / have you ever gone on a Bigfoot hunt? A Bigfoot hunt? No, I can't say I've gone on a Bigfoot hunt ever. I mean, I'd be down, so hit me up. Like I said, I love hiking, I love getting outside, so you know, if we're gonna go hike a long ways and hunt down Bigfoot, I'm game. I mean, shoot, when you put it that way, I could get the first Bigfoot picture ever. Where have you traveled? Instagram is very deceitful. It's deceiving. And this is partially done intentionally, partially it's just kind of the way it works. But when you look at a page, for instance, my page, it looks like I'm always traveling, going on adventures, and that's intentional on my part. Like, I take a lot of landscape photos. I want to show off all of the places I've been. But it's not like I'm always on vacation just traveling and taking awesome photos. That's not how it works at all. Typically, I go on one trip and I take a ton of photos on that trip, and then I post them over like the time span of the next month. So it's not like I'm always traveling. That being said, I've been to New York, I've been to Washington, Oregon, California, Colorado, Utah, Idaho. I don't know, I mean, I've been a ton of different places. But what's interesting is I've actually never been outside the US. I do a lot of traveling within the US. I was actually gonna go to Japan this summer, but for obvious reasons that didn't happen. So yeah, how do you get comfortable vlogging in public? Oh yeah, baby! Great question, and the short answer is you'll never get totally perfectly comfortable. At least, you know, I don't think you should, honestly. I mean, it's a weird thing to do, to go out and just start talking to an inanimate object and, you know, expressing your feelings and talking about how you're doing. But I think the key thing is to just do it a lot. I actually have a whole video dedicated to this already, so if you want to check that out, I'll throw a card on screen now. But the key is just practice, as lame as that sounds. I know from my personal experience, and I've talked about this in a lot of videos, I'm not a good speaker. I don't think I'm a good public speaker. I don't think I'm a super extroverted, energized person just ready to, ha! When you actually want to do something and you decide that is more important than what you think people are going to think of you doing something like that, that's when it becomes infinitely easier, because I think a lot of the fears come with like the perception of others. You know, what are they going to think if they see me doing this? When you decide that like the videos you want to make, the stuff you want to put out is more important than what other people think of you, that's when it gets easy. Hope you're safe missing your videos. I am safe so far. Thank you, and I'll have new stuff coming out soon. What are some of your favorite spots to photograph in Seattle? Oh, there's so many good ones. There's Cary Park, which just has an awesome view of the entire city. There's a A spot called the Hole in the Fence, I think is the Instagram name. Another great spot. You can get some depth with the fence. The city in the background. I love taking long exposures there. Obviously there's the Space Needle, and then like the whole surrounding area is just surrounded by hikes and beautiful mountains. There's honestly just so many good spots. It's hard to pick one. What are the keys to getting sharp photos? This comes down to a whole bunch of things, but I'll just dive into a couple of them. So first thing that's going to determine whether your photo is sharp is if you actually... We might have to move. Okay, so there are a ton of things that determine whether a photo comes out sharp or not. The best thing, like if you want sharp photos, is you need to make sure you are nailing focus. So I mean, think of it this way. The more, this is going to sound really obvious, but even if you just miss focus slightly, that degrades the sharpness of a photo, of an image, of a video very quickly. And in video it actually matters less because the motion kind of hides it, but when it's a still frame, if you're just slightly front focused, slightly back focused, especially if you're doing portraits and you get down to a shallow depth of field, that gets pronounced dramatically. So number one, nail focus. Number two, make sure you have a lot of light. This is a little bit less intuitive, but there's some saying that it's bright pixels are sharp pixels or something like that, and it's so true. As soon as you have to start cranking up ISO or, lowering your shutter speed because there's just not a lot of light coming in, that probably means your photos aren't going to be sharp. And I just kind of said it, but you want to make sure you have a fast enough shutter speed, whether you need 1/100th of a second, 1/250th of a second. So I mean, fast shutter speed, lots of light, nail focus, and having a sharp lens always helps. For people just starting video/photo, would you recommend DSLR or mirrorless, and why? Phenomenal question. So we're at kind of an interesting transition point where it's like DSLRs are, I think they're done. Like I just can't imagine anyone comes out with another DSLR, and when I say anyone, I mean, well, maybe like one or two more. But for the most part, I can't imagine, for instance, Canon comes out with another DSLR at this point. They finished off the 70D, 80D, 90D series. They finished off the 1DX series with the 1DX Mark III, which is a beast. But I just can't really see anyone coming out with new DSLRs, especially with the Canon R5 and R6 coming out. And, Sony's been doing mirrorless, Nikon switched to mirrorless. DSLRs are dead. Why that's exciting is it means all of those great lenses, we're talking, EF-L lenses or Sigma lenses or whatever you shoot, those DSLR lenses, in my mind, are going to start dropping in price. The price of DSLRs is going to start going down. So you're still getting great technology, just a couple years old. So if you're in the market for a DSLR camera, you're going to save a lot of money, which is super cool. Mirrorless, on the other hand, is what all the cool kids are using. If you shoot professionally, you're going to be switching over to mirrorless, no doubt about it. But everything's super expensive. Those new lenses can be, $2,000 or $3,000. The new camera bodies can be $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. That adds up quick. And I think the reason mirrorless is taking over is we've finally gotten to a point where they're surpassing DSLRs, but they've just started doing so. So DSLRs are going down in price, mirrorless are just they're way up in price, but the DSLRs are just barely behind. So it's definitely going to depend on what you want to do personally. I think the best way to put it is DSLRs are going to be a better bang for your buck right now. They're just dropping in price, relatively quickly. I think you can get like a used 80D, which is what I shoot most of my videos on, for around $600, which is an absolute steal, and you're still getting awesome quality out of it. If you're more beginner or intermediate ranged, or even if you're starting to take it seriously, there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting a DSLR. 2 years from now, I'm not sure if I'd still recommend it, but right now, I think they're a really good bang for your buck. If you are trying to start investing in that expensive mirrorless glass and you want to take it, pretty seriously, or you're trying to make a career out of it, definitely mirrorless is the way of the future. Although I don't think it's quite completely taken over yet. I think it'll be another year or two before that's like pretty much standard. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say the 80D is? You're gonna make me rate my own camera? I'll give it like a 6 out of 10. Honestly, not that high. Now, I absolutely love this thing, but it is a bit dated. But the reason I keep it around is it does everything I need at pretty much the quality I want. What's the coolest short film you've ever made with a clown in it? kind of a targeted question. Definitely would you rather. Super fun shoot. I was a director of photography on it, and inside joke, but the director actually asked me that question. What unrealized photography dream do you hope to achieve in the next 60 days? Okay, so I don't know if I've really talked about this. Maybe now's the time to break it to you guys. I'm not really pursuing photography as much anymore. I'm actually working in video production. I'm on a video production team, as well as, just doing all the YouTube has kind of amplified that even more. But there's not really any photo dreams I'm chasing right now. No, I mean, I absolutely love photo, but it's definitely become more of a hobby for me. I'm pursuing video more as a career, and I think that kind of just stemmed from making videos about photography. All of a sudden I realized I actually enjoy making videos, talking, being expressive, being creative with video more than the photography itself. But photography is just so much fun for me still. That's why I'm always posting to Instagram. If I had one dream I wanted to achieve in the next 60 days, it's definitely get some better Milky Way photos. I pretty much only shoot the Milky Way during the summer. That's when that's when I have a lot of free time, and that's when it's most visible, and you can see the galactic core and all that. So definitely sometime in the next 60 days. I think I'm good enough at editing. I've got enough camera knowledge. I think I've got a new lens since I last tried. I think I could just smash my previous bests, astro photos, so that's something I'd like to do in the next 60 days. This is for the Q&A. How many backup drives should I have? I hear so many people talking about it. Another phenomenal question. So there's sort of like a golden triangle you should have for storage. You should always upload your footage while it's still on your SD card. Don't cut it and paste it to your device. You should copy it, send it to your drive, so if something goes wrong, you still have the full copy on your SD card. So you send it from your card to some sort of hard drive, whether that's external or your laptop. Ideally, you would then send a copy to the cloud, as well as copy that from one drive to the next drive. So from your card, you should have one drive with your footage, another physical drive with that same footage, and then backed up to the cloud as well. That is the safest way to make sure you never lose anything. That being said, drives are expensive. I know when you're just starting out, that doesn't, most people don't want to drop hundreds of dollars on hard drives. But I think being redundant is really important. The way I see it, if a drive goes corrupt, however infrequent that may be, everything's gone. If you had 10 videos or trips from a family vacation, that information is gone forever if something happens to that drive. So as much as it stinks just shelling out money for drives, those are your projects, your work, stuff you pour hours, nights, weeks, months into, or sometimes it's just memories, and you don't want to lose that. So having at least one extra copy is normally a good idea. Or at the very least, take like your rendered files. You don't have to save necessarily all of your raw photos or your unedited video, but take your finished results and try and have a duplicate of those somewhere. The Awesome Possum asks, will you ever attempt to climb Mount Everest? Really enunciating my T's there. I mean, I think it'd be cool, but realistically, it's not a big dream of mine. I've climbed a lot of mountains, and I think Everest would be cool, but it's pretty extreme. I think there's only probably 4,000 or 5,000 people in the world that have done that. Probably not, but I think if I got to a point in my life where that made sense, or I had a group of people that was just gonna, really train for a couple of years and do that with me, yeah, I think that'd be cool. What are your favorite things to shoot? If we're talking photography, it's landscapes, hands down. Don't make any money from it, but it's just super pleasurable, enjoyable. I love it so much, and I think what comes along with it is those nights sleeping in the woods, or 20-mile trails. You're just miserable, your legs are aching, you're sweating, but doing that with friends is just so much fun, and seeing things you just can't see in the everyday life. Beautiful sunsets over mountains and trees, landscapes, hands down. As far as video goes, just anything creative, anything fun. Slow motion B-roll is always cool, but I just like really having funny ideas and making those. Thoughts on Black Lives Matter? So I don't know whether this is the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, and it's something I guess I don't necessarily want to discuss on this channel, simply because the goal with this channel is to talk about photo, video, help other people pursue that as a career, or just help them, learn and have fun as a hobby. That's the focus. I don't want to get too political, but I think what we can all agree on is there's a lot of things that have been going on that's just wrong, just lots of things, lots of violence, lots of unnecessary hatred going on, and we need to find a way to change it. And I don't know the best way to do that. As far as the group goes, I don't know enough about it to make an informed sense of judgment. I think the goal is a good thing. I think peaceful protests are awesome. I think informational speeches, sessions, things like that are good. But there's also a lot of things I don't necessarily agree with. There's violence, there's riots, there's breaking of businesses. I think I saw a Target that got completely ransacked. I think the thing I've learned the most in the past couple months is just that we have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed, that need to be corrected, and I'm glad that was brought to not only my attention, but the attention of a lot of other people. I think that's awesome. I think there's just so much we still need to work on, and I think we'll just continue to grow, and hopefully this doesn't die out, but hopefully we can do it in a peaceful way. Okay, that's all the questions. And guess what? I forgot to film an outro. But hopefully that was fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If I got to your question, great. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I honestly cut these down so much and I still feel like they're way too long. So sorry if I didn't get to your question. You can always DM me, comment me. I'll try to answer it. I've got a lot of stuff planned in the near future, so stay tuned. But have fun, stay creative, and I'll see you all in the next one.